doing here this morning is talking about the background to Dillian Whyte being pulled from the AJ fight this weekend because Whyte returned adverse analytical findings in a WADA drug test. These two are talking about the timing of it, who knew what when. Now, the bottom line is this. Eddie, to be fair to you, you've moved quickly and you've got a replacement that you think is a credible replacement. In comes Robert Hellenius. The fight was on Saturday night. No Dillian Whyte. He's wondering if he's got a career at all. And Hellenius goes in against Anthony Joshua. But let's go down this route now about Anthony Joshua. Are the AJ camp, Eddie, too precious when it comes to criticism? Or is that just boxing in general? On this, they've an agenda against me, and Talksport's part of that agenda against me. This is AJ on that subject.
When like everyone's favourite at Talksport for Otto Wallinger went 12 rounds, and bust his eye open, no one complained. Anthony Joshua goes 12 rounds with Jermaine Franklin. It's like, what's happened to the heavyweight division? Why is that? What is the problem with me going 12 rounds?
Does it annoy you that people say, well, Anthony Joshua, the fight seems to have left in, the fight seems to have left in?
It just makes me curious as to why. That's why I asked you the question. Why do you think that is? Where one does it versus another, but you can clearly see that there's two different comparisons. So it's what it is. But let's be clear on what it is as well. There is, let's call it an attack on my name, especially on this Talksport radio station. Yeah, there is definitely an attack on my name. But it's fine. It's fine, you know, in this industry you have to have a thick skin, but it's good to talk about it. Like, that was just one example of many I could point out on how there's like parallel comparisons, but one gets dug out a lot more.
So Anthony Joshua believes there's an agenda against him, and there's an agenda here at Talksport against him. I mean, Eddie, as you're a fighter, he shouldn't believe that because there isn't an agenda.
Yeah, I don't know agenda. I think that he definitely gets treated with different energy from some of the media.
But Talksport specifically?
Are you going to let me talk?
I'm just saying, Talksport specifically.
Yes. I think that ultimately, when you are the size of AJ and one of the biggest stars in British sport, you are going to be a topic of conversation. And once that conversation unfolds, you're going to get people talking positively and negatively. So that sometimes, I think the main thing is I don't think, you know, his counterpart, which is Tyson Fury. I mean, when we go back to the Alexander Usyk situation, we all know that, and I know specifically because I worked with him for 5 or 6 fights, the easiest person to do a deal with in the heavyweight division is Alexander Usyk. Okay? And the fight with Tyson Fury against Alexander Usyk was so simple to make. And ultimately, Fury chose not to take that fight. I believe.
But how do you know that, Eddie? That's not a fight negotiation that you're privy to. If someone said that
Well,
to
I'm
you,
sure you will. I bet you were in a room.
If somebody said
you
to you,
negotiated the deal.
if somebody said to you that the fights that you do are easy to negotiate, the first riposte you'd have is, how do you know you're not in the room? Now, this observation about Anthony Joshua being treated in a different way to Tyson Fury, I don't know about you guys, but for some of you guys that have so much to say for yourself, you have the thinnest skins.
I'm not saying
you also you had a conversation with Spencer Oliver. Can I finish?
Go on.
Thank you. You said to Spencer Oliver that he's one of the few people that have got the back of Matchroom and Anthony Joshua. The conversation.
No, you did. Anthony Joshua.
Right, Anthony Joshua. Okay. I'm trying to be balanced in the view. I look at Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury in the same respect. Right? I hate the Ungaro fight. I think he stunk the place out against Otto Wallinger. I think that the Derek Chisora fight was an absolute pump, right? And I think he says far too much in the media and doesn't back it up. I think he makes bets with people he doesn't pay up on. I think it's poor. Right? And on the other side of the argument, I think Anthony Joshua has done things that I disagree with that principle. So I think the bulk of people, certainly in this building, look at it from that point of view and go, criticism where criticism is due, praise where praise is due. But you guys running around spinning this yarn about the fact that there is an unconscious bias or a conscious bias towards diminishing Anthony Joshua is preposterous.
I don't think you do that, Eddie. But we've certainly heard from AJ there. And this man to my right, may I say, Eddie, this man to my right here, sure, Fury gave us a decent interview before the fight against Whyte up at Wembley, and of course it was all pals. But you have weighed in on Fury for some of the ridiculous things he said. And Fury has come after not only Simon but me fairly publicly, and we go with it because it's part of the territory, Eddie. And it seems to me
like
that AJ, who I admire
Yeah,
a lot,
what you
seems
feel
very
and what
thin-skinned
the
on
facts
this
are
one.
two different things.
But you don't let the facts get in the way. You
Well, of
just
course
go
I
with
do.
what you think. But the energy's different, Simon.
No, it's
Look
not.
at.
How do you mean the energy's different?
I think when we're debating this now, and you're talking about Tyson Fury
Yeah.
and talking about all the things that he did, I don't see you spit it with any venom or
course I
any
did.
passion.
So
Not really.
when I
because
think
I think it's
Eddie,
not.
when I
Let me
when I
finish this
write an
thought.
article in a newspaper
Huh?
and turn around and say
No.
he's a disgrace to boxing, you don't think
But I
that's
think
spitting
when
facts?
my name gets mentioned or something, I see the blood pressure rise. I see the venom. I don't know what it is.
When your name gets
No,
mentioned.
yeah, like
Shall I tell you the only thing that you and I have ever disagreed upon? The only thing is the way that you handled Conor Benn.
Yeah, we get that.
I have spoken about you and to you about the nature of the things that you do. I've also been clearly understanding of the way that you pay your fighters and the fact that you deal with them in a certain way. So I've been as complimentary about you as I have been derogatory. And the only issue is when you sit across the table from me and you bullshit about things like you did last time around, and what you do is you go, I tell you what,
So you're doing it again.
Did you watch your language
But
there?
yeah, but you do. Now you've lost your temper
I'm
again.
not
You're getting
lost my temper.
silly.
No, I'm not being
So
silly.
because you're going all flustered
I'm not
again.
flustered.
And-
Eddie,
look,
stop.
you- no,
Eddie,
you are.
you're not in a position of authority, so don't try and
Well,
diminish
you-
me.
But,
I'm
then,
not.
but what you do is
But you
you
can't
go
tell me
back
what
and
I'm
say,
doing.
oh well, I did. You haven't done that. So what are you talking about?
Eddie, you're making an observation that I have a different attitude towards you than I do towards, say, Frank Warren or
I
Ben
think that's
Shalom.
100%
And I have a different attitude towards you on the basis of one subject matter. One subject matter.
No.
I think your behaviour over the Conor Benn situation was a disgrace.
No,
Okay.
And I think
That's-
under the board's regulations, I think you should be brought in front of them and served with a
But
dispute.
that's your dream.
Because
That's not going to happen.
it's not a dream.
But it is.
I think
but,
the sport
but
is
look at
bigger
the
than
energy.
you.
Look at the energy.
And if
Of
Frank,
all the things
and
that
if
have
Frank
happened.
Warren had done
Energy's
something
not
like
that thing, Eddie.
But
Energy's
it's
not
not
that
energy.
thing.
But it is.
But it's
because
focus, Eddie.
It's not.
It's
Because you can
focus.
see you don't have the same energy on anything
We-
else.
Don't be
Because
silly.
you've got
I
this
just sat
really
on a
like
show.
little
I
something
just
in your
sat
eye.
on a
Say
show.
it
I
now.
just don't be
Look,
a
you're
child, Eddie.
spitting.
I just sat on a show with Frank
Yeah.
Warren 4 weeks ago and said to him, "You're a disgrace for this Ngannou fight. It's a disgrace." And you'll see a podcast that comes out on Thursday where I spend 20 minutes of that show going to him. I'm not having this, Frank. What you're doing with this fight is not to do with the boxing world, it's to do with money, and you're not going to get away without saying it. Right? So when you turn around and try to diminish the argument by reducing the facts and reducing it to a conversation which is based upon personalities rather than facts, I have no motivation besides thinking that your behaviour over Conor Benn and the way that you represented that fight and what you let that kid go through was nothing more than a disgrace.
I'm gonna let you, Eddie. I'm gonna let you come back on that. The other side of this break, Eddie.
In the way that
Eddie,
you
you
represent
need
the
to give me
situation.
time here. Both of you need to give me time here. Eddie, I'm going to let you
Never
come
mind.
back in that. Eddie, I'm going to let you come back in that, but not now. We're going to take another break. One thing I do need to say, apologies to anybody who has picked up on any language
I apologise
that
for
you
Simon's
found
language.
in
We're
this
getting
case
very rattled.
this morning. But Eddie, I'll let you